Okay, hello everyone, this is Mr. Rob Bronan here again, and by the way, it's early in the morning, my voice does not always sound like this. This video is going to be a little mini-guide for Vanguard, talking about his new OKI potential, because although his changes are really good, surprisingly one of the biggest changes was the change in hit effect to 6 MS. Having that wall bounce gives a ton of extra hit stun whenever you hit this, and allows you to go for some really beneficial OKI options for Vanguard. So in essence, Vanguard kind of got the same buffs as Anji just did in his patch, where whenever he gets a hit, even if it's a really small hit, because he gets better knockdowns and stuff, he gets just more advantage when he gets a hit, which is a really good buff for him, I feel. So the main change to 6 MS is that it bounces the opponent and bounces them off the wall, giving you a ton more hit stun. And in my experience, the best way to get OKI off of this is just to do a run up into a 4S. And this is really good for a lot of reasons. So, the first one, if your opponent is kind of a DP, trigger happy kind of guy, let's just check that this is a DP. Yes, it is. So, if you've ever ended a combo, long or short, with this, you can dash up, go for this, and because you move back, you'll be completely DP invincible and get whatever kind of long DP punishes you like to go for. Actually, DP punishes are even kind of better in this version because you can do stuff like this to go for some crazy punishes. So I'm sure there's a lot of potential for him to really slaughter his opponent. That was meant to be jump cancel. But yeah, that's your first option. It beats DPs. Obviously, it'll beat grab as well because you're not that far away. And also, if the opponent does get hit because they're trying to mash or something, then obviously starting with the 4 MS is going to be one of your best options if he's not guarding right now. 4 MS is, you know, always, not 4 MS, 4S is a hit that you will always want to get because it just leads into your S stuff, and that's where Vanguard gets most of his damage. I'm sure that wasn't optimal, but that's just an example of a super easy combo you can get off of a single reset of your 6 MS if the opponent gets hit. And even if they block, you're in a pretty good situation. So having him block once again, and some kind of combo, 6 MS, you dash in, and after this, you can either like dash up, go for a throw if you're feeling really cheeky, or what I find really cool is if you're expecting your opponent to throw, you can actually go for this stuff. Because now he has a jump cancel on block. So he can go woo, and then kind of reset his offense this way, which is like a little bit fake. The opponent can like technically anti-air you, but if they're not expecting it, which will definitely be the case in like the first few weeks or something of this patch coming out, people are not going to expect Vanguard to just randomly jump cancel in the middle of his heavy pressure. And he can even go for stuff like this to like just super reset his pressure. I think that has a lot of potential for being really cool. And if he goes for the jump cancel, he can like do some kind of instant overhead stuff, I imagine, if he has any any white life. I'm not a mix-up entrepreneur or a connoisseur, but I imagine stuff like that could work really well. And also with the changes to this, you can now like force that a lot more easily. So anytime you get a knockdown, whether it's from a really far, short combo like this, you can get some really good combos. I mean, you can get some really good pressure that beats a lot of the opponent's options on Wake Up. It'll beat their DPs outright. They can't mash on you if you hit it meaty enough. And you can also go for some really good pressure if they do block it. And the pressure has a lot of options. It can be like jumps into regular jump-ins into mana, or jump into special. So all different options, which is pretty cool stuff. Or he can just be super cheeky and use the suck in to go for a grab. So really cool. And this is just something super strong, I feel, that is like super useful for his game plan. Because for like long hits like this, where you're not going to get like anything else off of it, now he gets actually some decent reward because he actually gets to keep his turn and go in on the opponent and start going for some cool Vanguard stuff. Now, this actually still applies, but is different in the corner. 6 MS is equally just as good as an OKI tool, but for different reasons. So when you do it in the corner, Obviously, you're not going to dash up and go for this because you're just going to be hella close to your opponent, but it actually has the perfect timing for you to just go for a safe jump. You can do this, just hold the up button, and you're probably not going to be right in the opponent's face. If you like do it after anything, that is an automatic safe jump. I didn't have to time anything, I just hold it up diagonally upwards, and it just works. If I even put him onto DP, you saw it hit him on guard just there, and I can do it on DP as well. And then he dies. If you know how to do combos. It's too early for this. But yeah, super good options. The only thing is, when you're doing this in the corner, you have to be a little bit careful of the height. Say if you've ended your combo like this, the opponent will actually be too high up when they hit the wall that it changes the frames of like the amount of hits done on the attack. That you actually just don't get a safe jump anyways, it just will never hit the opponent. So if they are super high up in the combo, you just have to do a micro duck before you go for a jump, and then it'll be timed perfectly. So just keep that in mind. But most of the time when you're going for combos in the corner, say if you've like just done like do, oh, and if you don't switch sides, anything other than a 2S will probably leave the opponent at the right height where you can actually get a safe jump. So that is really, really powerful. And one last thing, sometimes when you're going for combos with Vanguard in this new patch, it feels nice to go for these 6ms loops with your sweep, just to like get out your extra damage. And the thing is, after this, the opponent, oh wow, didn't actually recover there. But usually, after combos of decent length, the opponent will recover out of 1 or 2 of these reps. So see how he flips out of the combo there? That means that you can't really get as guaranteed Oki. Your safe jump doesn't work there. But because they flip out at a kind of nice range in front of you, you have 2 main options. One that I think is a bit more flashy than the other is you can actually go for a 4ms. And then this will catch the opponent if they, because you know when you recover, you have the option of pressing buttons and losing your invincibility or staying invincibility the whole way until you hit the ground. And if you go for a 4ms, it'll cover both options, because it is active for so long that it'll still hit the opponent after they've hit the floor, and if they decide to delete their invincibility by going for a jumping attack, they will just get absolutely bonked by this, and because you're in the corner, you'll actually be able to get a combo off of it, especially if they're airborne. So that's a good option, but the other one is, because you're around this distance, I like to just go for a 5ms, and then just see what happens. 5ms costs like nothing, it's like 30 meter, so you can just do it at the end of the when they're recovering, see what happens. If they try to press some buttons or something weird's happening, you can go for your armor, bonk them out of whatever they're doing, or if it happens to hit because they have like hit buttons, then you can go for the overhead. I just find that's the best way of covering their options, because just like this, it is reasonably active because it has the 2 swipes, the 2 big swipes, and then you can just easily react to whatever's going on, whether you want to extend a combo with either this, or if you want to do some more wild stuff by like armoring through, or closing in with plus frames with this. So yeah, basically no matter what situation he's in, Vanguard can always end his combos in an advantageous way, which wasn't really the case before. Usually it was kind of a mix-up in between whether you wanted to just like do this and then run towards the corner to kind of get some corner carry, or get this knockdown, which was like a nice long hard knockdown, but even doesn't have as much frame advantage as 6ms has now. So these Oki buffs on their own are really, really useful for Vanguard, and despite all the other changes, this might be one of the most actually impactful to his game plan. And I'm just thinking that I haven't forgotten anything. Yeah, in the corner, obviously it's going to be the exact same for him, but because this wall bounce applies like literally anywhere, the same Oki guide always applies. Just run up, go for 4S, and it'll just beat everything the opponent does. And in the corner, just go for 6ms into an easy safe jump. they're a little bit too high, just delay the safe jump very slightly. And if they're ever recovering in a combo, just go for your 5 MS, see what happens, or just try and lock them down with a 4 MS. And yeah, with all those tools combined, you should be an unstoppable force with Vanguard that never relents to take his offense off of the opponent. I hope this short guide was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!